Yes, y'all, on a Thursday night, troublemaker edition of Outlaw Nation. It's what we do. It's the last day of the week for the People's Network. So I figured why not go out in style? Welcome to the show. I am Kevin Barnes, the militant with a microphone, the mouthpiece of the movement, aka the Negro Whisperer. And I'm in the building, like I said, for another episode of Outlaw Nation. And I have a very esteemed guest. I always try to keep sisters involved, positive sisters. So, my sister, tell these people who you are and what you do.
Most definitely. Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it, Kev. I think this is like my second or third time, and
Yes.
it's one of my favorite podcasts, man. One of my favorite shows. So big up to y'all. But my name is Jasmine Tyler. I go by Jazzy, the CEO of Keep Your Head Up Society. I do a host of many things that we'll get into, but I don't claim to have a specific title. I'm just a woman of the Most High that's just walking in purpose.
Okay. Your purpose is your thing, right?
Most definitely.
So let's talk a little bit about your purpose because I always like to begin with letting people know who my guest is, and I appreciate your humility. You say I ain't really nobody special, I'm just who I am. I dig the coolness of it, but we got to give you your props, right? So we're gonna get into that. I want y'all to know y'all can tune in Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. I'm here. We're Outlaw Radio on the Monday night, the Big Black Sports Show on the Tuesday night. Then we do Outlaw Radio again on the Wednesday, and then like I said, Thursday night we do Outlaw Nation. So I have my sister Jazzy here. Now, a couple weeks ago, I was trying to reference you because you actually, the last time you were on, you are correct. This is your third time on. The first time you was solo. The second time you came on with the chairman, Fred Hampton Jr.
Mhm.
So for people who just tuning in, they might not even remember that show when the movie was out and it was once again a hot button topic about the assassination of Chairman Fred Hampton. Right? You remember that?
Yep, that was 2019 or 2020.
Yeah, somewhere in there. How's that brother doing?
He's doing great. I talked to Chairman the other day. Constantly just in a fight for the people, constantly continuing his father's legacy, assisting Mother Cool, just assisting the people.
Okay, okay. So he's still moving and grooving. That's good to know.
Yes,
Um,
indeed.
and they did get the funding they were looking for because I know when we were on when you were on last time, they were on the edge of getting the funding to do something with the preservation of his childhood home, his father's childhood home. And they
Yep.
did get that money so they could do that, right?
So that is a museum, and also they just had a meeting to get approved to be a landmark. So that's for those who aren't aware of what that is. That's similar when you go to Atlanta, Georgia, and you go visit Dr. King's house.
Okay, okay.
So they're making it to where it's a museum, but it's a landmark that people can come and actually get the correct information in regards to not only the assassination of Chairman Fred. So they're making it to where it's the Panthers in general.
Okay. And that was it was a good interview. And I'm first of all, I want to say I appreciate you bringing him on. But we had him on Outlaw Radio before a lot of people. I seen him go on a lot of major platforms and then on a lot of like news outlets. And I was always smiling because I was like, we had him before. We had him on our show before everybody had him. So shout out to you for that. So you're a native North Sidean. We're gonna get into all of this. That's what I give my people who I know are from the same turf. A native North Sidean, right? Where were you? You born and raised in Milwaukee?
Born and raised on 14th and Burleigh. My grandparents migrated from the South. They by way of Chicago, and they purchased a home on 14th and Burleigh in 1959. But then my mother, we stayed majority of the time on the east side when I was growing up. So it's like you got your hood and then you got your hood, which is your grandmama house where
Right.
everybody grew up. So I did grow up on the north side, but I also grew up on the east side as well.
Okay. I still North Sidean. You don't lose your
Yeah.
your stamp, right? You wasn't across the bridge. I've been starting shit with people across the bridge all week because I've been talking about how I never
With
go
the
to
east,
South
with the
Side.
east.
Right. Well, that's still part of the North Side to me. The East, but you have to be a Milwaukeean to understand that.
Right.
But so like I remember, cause shout out to you. I know your family, right? I know
Yep.
your family. Like I know your brother. Shout out to T. Brad. He used to be on the show with me.
Yep.
So for a very long time, T. Brad was my co-host. And by the way, I just had Trav Too Funny
That's
on
my cousin.
right a couple weeks ago. I just had
Yep.
Trav Too Funny on. So, and the funny part is, in the beginning of the show, he was actually when he first kind of tuned in. he was in the neighborhood. I have not been in the neighborhood in years. So
Right.
he was down there and it was a warm day. So you know how it goes right on Atkinson. So it was just like I
Yes.
said, oh man, I just kind of forgot what it was like. But I seen a lot of brothers that I hadn't seen in a long time. Cause like I said,
Yes.
I've been on some other shit. So yeah, shout out to the hood and shout out to your family. I spent a lot of time with your family.
Thank you. Yeah,
Atkinson,
so that's my dad's side. Them my peoples, man. They are some of my biggest supporters, and I'm
yeah.
grateful. I'm grateful for them.
Yeah, yeah. I remember you did the video over there in the
Yep.
neighborhood. I remember you did because that's what I was about to say. I remember you started out because you've had a transition. So initially, your thing was music. So we'll talk about your hip hop, how you got started in doing the hip hop thing. And I know people say, well, we had you on years ago, so a lot of my listeners are new, so they don't know this stuff. So I don't want people to think we're being
No, it's
ridiculous.
all good. Yep. Peace,
Um,
Mo.
yeah, yeah. What's happening, man? I need to chop it up with my brother. I told him I was gonna call him. Shout out to Ajamu. He's supposed to be back on to promote Heal the Hood. He's supposed to be back.
Yes.
So shout out
Shout
to him.
out to Hilla Hood too because he does it a lot. I know this year he's doing it on the east side, but he does it often on the north side around where we grew up at the Atkinson and Burleigh area. So
Okay.
yeah, that's dope. Shout out to Ajamo.
Yeah, yeah. I see a lot of people in the chat room. I see
Peace and
my boy
love.
Terry. He said what's happening. Said hey Kev, Lisa Mueller, what's going on? Get a lot of supporters, man, because people like this ain't Outlaw Radio Night. No, it's Outlaw Nation, so it's just a little bit more loose. I'm get too heavy with the socio politics, the socio political things that go on, the socioeconomic ills. We go hard on the shit. So we be needing time to kind of relax a little bit. So how did you get into the music? What got you on that path?
If I'm honest, I'll try to make it as brief as possible. But when I was younger, my mom, we didn't have a lot. So every Christmas, she would get me like a tape player or a boombox or a cassette CD player, something with music. And I kind of used it as a tool to kind of drown out my environment. So at a young and my big cousin Big Jazz, she was a hip hop head back in the day in the early 90s. Come in the room is Word Up magazines, poster on the walls, all of that, listening to Bone Thugs and Harmony, Easy E, Shauna, Pop. So I've been around it since I was younger. I think seventh grade, I don't know if people are familiar with Pizzle. But Pizzle is a rapper, and then Young Oki, he's a rapper as well. We all was at Morris Middle School, and they had a rap group, and it was like, man, I could do that. So we had two different rap groups, and it was one girl in each rap group. Francie Chester was in the other rap group, and I was the girl in their rap group. And Pizzle, Sherrod Stones, he wrote my first rap. We went in the basement where had the mattress up, recorded it and everything, and from there on, it was like history. It became a little bit more serious after I graduated middle school. When I met my best friend Shanika, we would write raps in high school, put them in shoe boxes. Tommy, who owned Eve, used to do the Apollo, so we would go downtown and perform at the Apollo. And is one incident in particular where this is how I became Jazzy. Shauna was my favorite female rapper,
Mm,
and there was a concert at the U.S. Cellular Arena that she was doing with Ludacris and Lloyd Banks. And Sean John used to work at B100. I worked at Foot Locker. I was 15. But on the side, I braided hair at Corey Barbershop off of 13th and Burleigh. So he came in and he was like, listen, Shauna coming, I got some tickets. If you braid my daughter hair, they yours. Braid her hair, go to the concert. Took my homegirl, rapped my way backstage. Met Shauna, rap for her. And then HK and Kool-Aid seen me. And it was like, spit something. So I rapped and he was like, who you with? I'm like, I ain't with nobody. They like, well, you with us now. So that was the beginning of my whole career. And rest in peace to Kool-Aid. That's my brother. That's my best friend. He played a huge role in why I started doing music. So that's how I became Jazzy.
okay. So I mean, like they always say, you grow up in a certain kind of environment, you find something that's gonna help you get out. But this is a thing that you kind of took to another level because you've gotten into some other stuff. First of all, how do you say your name on Facebook?
Yasameen Halal Yahoo.
Yasamin Halal Yahoo. I have butchered that name on my show about 5 times because I couldn't. I'm sitting there and I'm trying to say it. Everybody on the show is taking a swing at it, and just by you saying it now, I realized we was all wrong.
Right.
But so let's talk about the journey. What gets you to the point where you change your name? So what happens with the rap? Where does it go? Where does it lead you to? I want to lay out your whole story.
Okay, so around 2000 and well, after Kool-Aid was murdered with Lala in the studio in '07, I took a break. It kind of turned me off from it. I didn't really trust anybody or anything like that. I started back doing it in about then I had my son in '07, then I had my daughter in '08. So '09, I linked up with Real. Shout out to Real on the beats, and this was I think around the time Nitty had dropped Bow. A lot of different artists was coming out, and we wrote the song "She Jazzy" with Young Major, and DJ New Styles broke it in textures, and Knowledge from the Record Breakers broke it on V100, and they did it at the same time. So I had no idea that it would even gain as much attention as it did, but it did. So what I started to do was performances at the local bars and clubs. Then I ended up teaming up with Jade, coming down to Atlanta. Homer introducing me to Smalls and Joker, who introduced me to Zaytoven. Business Boy, that's my homie. He's doing huge things right now. I linked up with him as a producer. And then 2012 is when I start tapping in with Sherman, and I start tapping into the real issues. That's when I got involved with what they consider to be the movement. That's when the Derek Williams case took place. And when the Derek Williams situation, when he was assassinated by the Milwaukee Police Department, it put a huge, it opened my eyes to things. And I had to take a step back and look and say, what type of music am I putting out? There are huge issues that's really going on in the world. Do I really want to, if I die today, do I really want to leave with a song called Money Made Bitch? Or do I want to leave a song called American Dream? So I did the American Dream video, and kind of just went on a rampage. And then after that, it was like, I don't want to be in the industry no more. I'm not willing to conform. I'm not going on stage to pop my ass. I'm not doing none of that stuff. I'd rather have, I'd rather make music with substance so that I can leave something when I'm not here, and so that I'm not misleading the people. So I took a huge break. Even though I stopped rapping, I didn't stop the industry. I've always been behind the scenes. I've always written music, or like right now, I'm kind of doing like the booking agent thing, booking artists in the industry for shows and stuff like that. It's just that the artistry of it, as far as rapping, I was falling out of love with it.
Okay. And that's not hard to do. I mean, we talk about rap music here on the show all the time, and I'm an old head, so definitely to me the quality of it has deteriorated. But it's a lot going on with rap, centered around the fact that the streets in rap right now have tried to mix with each other. And
Yes,
I feel like it's gotten a little bit, because I came up on the gangster rap shit. Like it started off when we was young, the NWAs and the Ghetto Boys and the Two Shorts and 8 Ball and MJG, UGK, all these kind of music genres within rap, within hip hop, country music, country. What's he? Pimp C call it country rap tunes.
right.
The West Coast music was different. The East Coast music was different. But now it's especially for females, right?
Mhm.
Because I want to talk about many discussions we've had about where females are in hip hop right now. On one hand, you could say I'm proud because they've made more strides in the hip hop industry, that more strides than they ever have. But then
Right.
I look at how they're presenting them,
Yep.
the messages that they're all conveying. So let's talk about that.
So first and foremost, I do believe it's like a lose lose situation, because this is the first time since back when Light and Queen Latifah and Mia X, we've always had women rappers in the game, and at the same time, it's just that it wasn't a lot of attention on it. So yeah, there's a lot of females rapping, a lot of women rappers, but what are they talking about? You know, you can have a lot of them, and that's not really an accomplishment because they're really kind of misleading the young ladies. A lot of people in the industry are misleading. They're rapping about doing drugs and drinking lean, and they don't even really do that in real life. You know, you rapping about f these niggas and busting it down, but you married. You know what I'm saying? So and it's not. I feel like I have the right to criticize it because I am an artist and I have been an artist. So I'm kind of not kind of I am disappointed in the fact that we consider this to be a moment to praise instead of a moment of accountability.
Okay. I wouldn't disagree. And years back, I said this about 3 years ago when because we always pay special attention to hip hop because it's like I always say, it's the soundtrack of my life. Like
Mhm.
yes, you too old? No, no, I'm one of the original hip hop fans. We're almost the same age,
Right.
right? Like so, we raised each other. So I will always have an opinion on it. But I talked about Megan Thee Stallion when she first started, and I said I think she's pretty clever. I think she's witty. She's obviously pretty, but I feel like she was pigeonholing herself by everything being about my ass, my booty, my sex, my libido. This just this, and it's okay. It's okay. I understand it's 2022 females who say, well, we've seized power, we've empowered ourselves, and we reserve the right to talk about our sexuality as we see fit. Totally understand that.
Is that really empowerment though?
That's where I'm going. Thank you.
You
That's
know,
where I'm going, right? Like so and so I was saying I hope she didn't pigeonhole herself because I said it's gonna come a time when she's gonna be asked to speak up on something serious. And people
right.
aren't, and lo and behold, this whole thing with the shooting, and just like her behavior, like a lot of the controversies behind her, some of the things she's done, allegedly, and I'm getting this from the guy who owns the CEO who owns her label and their little back and forth. But with the whole Tory Lanez incident, stuff like that. Now people don't even want to believe the girl when she says she was shot. If she says I didn't have no intimate relations, people like, yeah, right. Come on now, we know you let it fly, and it's simply because of her music, right? So I'm just like, is that empowerment? I can see how some women would feel like it's empowerment, but I'm saying, is it? And I'm glad you're here to
It's
explain that to us.
it's not empowerment, and you know me, I'm far from politically correct. You
Okay.
know, so I can't pussyfoot around, for the lack of a better word, around this particular topic. So I got to give it to you straight. um, what's happening is the feminist bullshit. And the reality of the matter is, the feminist movement was created to divide black men and black women. They have this whole self empowerment. If you remember, Amber Rose did the slut walk. What type of fucking empowerment is that for women? You understand what I'm saying? So no, it's not empowerment. It's really a shame that that we consider things like this to be empowerment. It is, and I'm not saying it in the sense of being critical, but I'm saying it in the sense of experience,
Right.
because I once made music like that.
Hmm.
So I feel like I have every right to say that's not empowerment. That's not real empowerment.
Okay. Okay. Man, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you. Um, Now, one thing I did neglect to say at the beginning of this show, and I have to say it right now, I want to wish a happy birthday to Malcolm X, El Haj Malik Shabazz, if you will.
Yes.
To me, one of the greatest black leaders we've ever had. I have my kind of like my Mount Rushmore of black leaders, and I have Adam Clayton Powell, and I have Mike McGee Sr., and then I have that brother on there,
Yes.
Malcolm X. So very and his journey, just the whole thing, the whole book, the whole novel is a
Mhm.
lesson for all of us as black men. So happy birthday, man, to Malcolm X, man. I guess it's been too long for me to say gone too soon. Can I still say that?
Listen, you can say whatever you feel because he did leave a lot of the people who fought for our people left early.
Uh-huh.
You know,
The energy Malcolm X kind of created and left here, though, I don't think it ever died. And it's funny how certain leaders, it's just like Chairman Fred Hampton Sr. The
Mhm.
energy that he created with what he did, and then the way they took him out of here, it didn't die. Like it
Right.
was it was left with the people. So that's why people still will get mobilized and when they get passionate, our people will still do that. Now I've had my issue with protesting and being. I did the boots on the ground organization, organizing. I did that. Did I'm not a protester, but I've been to some, and I got very frustrated with it. So now you've gotten very active, because I want to talk. You ain't just talking about getting in the community. You've done some things. So
Right.
what do you think about the movement now, especially here in Milwaukee? Because you see that they basically took this movement apart. They
Hmm.
took the leader. Shout out to brother Khalil. Shout out to that
Hmm.
brother, man. Hold your head, man. God be with you. Uh,
Yes.
but you see how and that momentum's gone, because ain't
Right.
nobody marching now. Ain't no the leaders. People have issues with all the leaders. I'm
Mhm.
saying some of them are justified, some of them aren't. Right? Like because some of them dudes, I hear people say stuff about. I'm like, well, that's not true.
Right.
But like this. So look. I don't even is the brother Frank Nitty even around? I don't know. I think he probably is like, fuck Milwaukee. I'm out of here. Um, after a while, and I see brother Vaughn tries to do things. He tried to, I see him out here still trying to be on the front lines, but it's lost a lot of momentum, the whole
Mhm.
thing in Milwaukee. So what you think about that?
So, well, first and foremost, I have to be completely transparent. Um, we have to get out of the mind frame of being a leader, because the only leader we have is the Most High. We didn't create ourselves, and I'm not. I don't believe in religion, so this is nothing that I'm saying is religious. It's just the truth. The leader, the true leader, is the Most High. So if we can come out of that mind frame and drop the egos, then we can really, really get some work done. And I'm actually going to say that past tense, because there's a lot of things that's going on behind scene. So I recently just had a Zoom call with some amazing people: Von Mays, Ray Nitty, Alderwoman Lewis, Alderwoman Shantia Lewis, Senator Lena Taylor, Homer Blow, um, Promise from 105.7. We are conducting some things for the youth. And if anybody knows me, they know that I never care about the notoriety. I never care about stepping out in front of the cameras and things of that nature. And the reason why I'm taking lead on this specific project is because I'm tired of what you just said. The march, I've done that. I started that with the Derek Williams case in 2011, 2012. And where did that get us? In a courtroom where all of the officers who assassinated him pleaded the fifth. That was a very discouraging and draining situation, because I sat with that family and cried with that family. And I seen all of the things that they went through. And then it hit me. Why is all of this stuff happening? And the scripture said there will be a day where the oppressed will rule over the oppressors. And
Okay.
that's exactly what's happening now. So I think a lot of people they consider themselves leaders, and this isn't any shot at anybody. This is just the truth. They consider themselves leaders, but they have no plan. You can't step out in the front just based off of the momentum of what the people give you. You have to understand that we are fighting against a system that capitalizes off the backs of Black people. We are fighting against a system that capitalizes off the backs of Black people. So if there is none of us going to jail, if there is none of us that are being murdered, assassinated on a daily basis, then they don't make money.
Okay.
So they're always going to send, and it's sad because it's our people. They're always going to send someone to disrupt the movement. And last year, what I seen was, yep, and I'm gonna be completely honest. They sent the LGBT community, and they sent the feminist movement. And these are facts. The reason why I say that is because there was an article where, and there was situations, if Khalil was free, he can attest to this, where they had literally plotted someone of these communities inside of the movements, and made them say that they felt threatened against Black men to the point where they wanted to carry a weapon. So now you have the brothers going out here. They have to not only go against the Black woman, they have to go against the system. They have to go against these man-made organizations that were caused to disrupt the Black household. They got to go against their brothers. By that time, they tired. Who wants to be a part of a movement? I'm getting attacked from every which way. So what we have to do is we have to be clear on the true agenda at hand, and that is drop the egos, drop white media first and foremost. You see, I'm not doing an interview on TMJ4 and Fox 6. I'm doing an interview with you because we have to control what we put out. So if we can stop if we can stop having feeling the need for exception within these people in their systems, then we can really have what they consider a movement.
So let me say this. Now you just said a bunch of stuff that
I'm
I agree with.
sorry.
You said a bunch of stuff I agree with. I wanted to go back though. I want to go all the way back to what
Okay.
you how you started because you named off the people, which is cool. And I seen that when the whole thing happened downtown with the five serve joint. I saw you were organized right away. Like I don't know if you were an organizer of it, but your name was attached to the event, like to try
I'm
and
not even there. Yeah, I just called them like, hey, let's do this. You know,
okay,
I'm in Atlanta. I go back and forth. But I
okay,
called Ray and Vaughn because we have that relationship, and I said, we need to do something,
okay,
you know?
okay. So I seen that. So I know you still keep your ear to the street. I want to say that. But I want to say too, those people, the same names here. When we name off the people here, it's the same names, and it has been for the last 20 years, from
Yep.
elected officials to leaders to like you talked about media. You talked
Yes.
about the need, you hear us talk about this all the time on Outlaw Radio, the People's Network. I talk about us doing us, writing our own narratives. And so why do I do a sports show? Well, if ESPN can do it and millions of us will watch white people talk about black athletes, we should be interested in hearing black people talk about black athletes, right? So I
That's
feel like
right.
we'll do our own sports network. We don't pay attention and we're not concerned with what's on Fox News or CNN because we have Outlaw Radio and
Right.
Outlaw Nation. So the conversations that are relevant to us, we want to be the people who have them. And we don't,
That's right.
we're not worried about the other side. So I totally agree that our endless pursuit for for acceptance to be accepted by the mainstream or white people. If you might as well go and break it down.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
what I'm
That's
saying.
it.
And we really want to be accepted by white people, and we've always strived for that. Like, cause you ain't made it until the white people say you made it, right? Like,
Yeah.
so that's instead of us saying no, let's kind of create our own quality. But okay, so now I got to go back to the people who've been standing there for 20 years. I
Hmm.
feel like it's time for a clean flush.
Okay.
Um, I send listen, and this is nothing personal. And
No,
a
I
lot of these
understand.
people, they're friends of the show. They've been on. If you've been a alderman, a senator, a congressman, a county executive, a county supervisor, whatever you've been for the last at least 10 years, 12 years, it's gotten worse under your watch. You haven't done anything. So I think it's time for you to go, whoever you
Yeah.
are.
Yes, I agree. So there, I'm glad that you was specific about that because we know that folks will be like, "Oh, they trying to get everybody out the way." Well, I used to work in Alderwoman Cogg's office, and I grew up in her district, and she grew up in her district. So she's someone that I work with very close. She's someone that I talk to on a regular because she's just a good sister, and she's one of the few who sits in a seat like that genuinely has the heart and cares for the people. But what I noticed in her office is that specifically for her, I know she actually came and got elected during the Derek Williams case, like right before that. So she's been in her role for about 10 years. But what I do know is that it takes about that time to make stuff happen in the state of Wisconsin because the state of Wisconsin is set up specifically to capitalize off the backs and oppression of black people. So some of the people like her who sit in these seats, like if you pay attention to her district, and this by far is not a political agenda or push or nothing. This is just from my experience and what I've seen. If you pay attention to her district, she has half of the Bucks Arena in her district. MLK Drive is recently being rebuilt. Kevin Noor, they have all types of different things that they rebuilding. A lot of this stuff takes time because there was people coming in buying these houses for 25,000, and then they was gentrification coming in buying them 25,000 and selling them for 200,000.
Right.
You know
Okay.
what I'm saying? So you have to be strategic about who you let do what. You got to go through these meetings and stuff. Now, for the other folks that ain't doing nothing, it is time for them to move around. It's most definitely time for them to move around because we have real work. But also, back to what I said as well, we must remember that We can't say we tired of being oppressed, but then ask the oppressors to help us.
No doubt.
You know, I'm grateful that we have people in these seats like Alderwoman Lewis and Alderwoman Cox, and Lena Taylor, Senator Taylor, who are willing to help us. But we as a people have to understand that we can't keep going to them asking them to do nothing for us. We have to figure out how we used to back in the day, how we could do it for ourselves.
Okay, so to that, my thing with that is 10 years. I get it. Takes time to make things happen because it's a bureaucracy. It's a lot of paperwork. But for me, their silence indicates complicitness.
Mhm.
So I don't if you're working this hard behind the scenes to make things happen and things are happening, then you should be more transparent about it. Nobody has a clue about what these individuals do most of the time, and I'm not speaking to the sister who you talking about specifically
Right.
because whatever they're doing, they do with a certain circle of people.
Yeah.
It's cronyism as well. So
Yes.
a lot of times, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I have not heard a forward thinking idea come from the common council in at least 15, 16 years. And
Well,
I said 10 years to be friendly. I said that to be friendly, but most of them have been incumbents for 14, 15, 16 years.
right.
And
But
it's
then
the same
also
thing.
look who was in office for 15 years. Barrett.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Barrett was in office, and we the people just believed he was the great white hope. The man sat in office for 15 years and ain't did nothing.
Yeah, you'd have to be an idiot to think he was like that's what I say for people who be like, he was a good man, good mayor. I'm like, really? Like what city was
Yeah.
you living
And
in?
when you look at the numbers, we voted for his ass. You
So,
know?
shout out to Rick Muhammad. He's in the chat room. Muhammad is one of my partners, man. He said, "Huh?" I think because he goes hard on the politicians. Man, the chat room is lit up. Erica Hunt said everyone is on the payroll. Walker too.
Yeah, all of them
Um,
work together. The
yeah,
judges, the DAs, the
right.
you know, that's why I went back to saying, like, you know, for me, I'm gonna speak for me and what I do as someone that's involved in the trenches in the community and stuff like that. When I worked in Alderwoman Kai's office, I seen a change because I created a bridge with the trenches in the city. So I start bringing brothers and sisters to the tables so that because typically they wouldn't allow them, not people like her, but just the way that the city is set up. You know what I'm saying? We have to have people in place like that too, that will be willing to be, because let's be honest. Some of these people sit in these roles and they don't want to be seen with certain people. They don't want to talk to certain people because they don't want to lose funding for their campaigns and all of this other stuff. You get what I'm saying? So you have to have people in position that you can reach back to and say, hey, how can we do this and da da da. But once again, where I'm at with it right now is the people. When I grew up on 14th and Burleigh, you had nobody parent was afraid to discipline someone else's child. It doesn't necessarily mean physically. It just means that if your butt doing something you don't have no business doing, then Miss Wilder and them down the street have every right to tell you to take your butt home before they call your mom. Now, when this happens, people want to get offended. Don't be talking to my kid like this and
Right,
that and da
right.
da da da. Well, when your kid is out here doing what they doing, don't come to the people asking for help because we tried when he was 5 years old.
And you know what? I want to go back too because I hear you on not expecting the oppressor to save us, but I do think seeing as how most of these elected officials are living off of our dime. We are owed as their constituents. We are owed. They owe us. They owe us. They need to go in there and work for our best interest. And I one thing I do get tired of is hear them try to explain how complicated the game is. Well, I want to do this, but this can't happen because I got to do this and I got to do that shit's out the door. Look, first of
Right.
all, you knew the job was dangerous when you took it. So don't get it now and start complaining about the difficulties of it because I really don't care. You need to get it done or get out the way. And so
I
once again,
understand what you're saying.
I understand how things flow. Because I was down there. I tell people all the time, I've seen behind the curtain. I know what the wizard looks like. I know
Right.
exactly what he looks like. So a lot of these people have been stagnant, and it's just been paralysis by analysis.
They
So
have. I agree.
they need to be removed, all of them. And the reason I say all of them is because I don't see any of them who represent anything that will provide long-term change in our city. They're not revolutionary. They're not progressive. They all they really do is sit down there and turn down people's license for shit or give people license. That's majority of what they do. In terms of really coming up with some innovative community kind of government for our community, they don't do it. That's why I say we need to get rid of.
So I also want to mention that there is structure from the state to the county to the city.
To the city.
You know
Yes,
what
it
I'm saying? So a lot of the times, not even just not defending them, but a lot of the times that has something to do with it as well. But what I've noticed just from stepping back from afar and paying attention to is that we have to remember that we live in Wisconsin. Milwaukee really should be a part of Illinois. You know what I'm saying? Because
thank
like
God we're not.
no, I think I mean that, and I'm being funny when I say that, but majority of Wisconsin is white.
Right. It's
You know
86%.
what I'm saying? It's 80% white.
86%. Yeah.
So, and then in Milwaukee in general, when you look at the structure of it, Solomon Jr., all these people came who they claim founded it, right? They built up bridges, segregation. They built up bridges from the north side to the east side to separate. And it's still happening today. Even within the common council, within the county supervisors, people are divided. People are divided. They're not willing to put their egos to the side or whatever their personal agenda is for the best interest of the people.
I want to give you an example of what I'm talking about, right? And if you're in the chat room, the number is 262-202-5131. It's Outlaw Nation on Thursday night. I want to welcome my sister Jazzy Tyler here. I want to say that name so bad, but I don't want to massacre it.
Yeah, Yasameen, which is Jasmine is just Hebrew, but Yasameen Halal Yahoo.
Okay. Can I just say Yasameen? My sister
Yes,
Yasameen here.
yes, of
Okay.
course.
Okay. So the mayor's response to what happened at the Fiserv was weak. He
Wait,
failed his first test as our leader.
no, he
Uh,
did it. You
he
talking about
did.
the curfew?
Yeah, this shit was weak, and I'm gonna tell you why. First of all, I'm not fooled by your fake Obama accent, okay? And this, I don't know who your handlers are, and they're advising you to put on this show. You're not Barack Obama. Stop it, okay? We call him Obama 0.2 around here on Outlaw Radio. First of all.
Kevin.
Now hold on. That was weak. He failed his first test, and I am one. You can go back and listen to my shows. I was very happy to have the first black elected mayor. What they call them, the Milwaukee Seven. All the brothers who've jumped up into these executive positions. Shout out to Tierman Spencer, first black city attorney, who's a friend of the show, who's been on here a million times, and that's my man. But I feel like Chevy's response was weak. There was no passion in what he said. It didn't seem like he gave a shit. It showed me that what he wants to do is protect downtown, because I don't know if you know who actually is living downtown right now.
Oh, I
It's
know.
these new white Milwaukeeans who are going to be the gentrifiers, if you will. They're not going to live in apartments forever. Okay,
Right.
you're placing them down there so you can start to take over the north side. So I said that to say his response was weak. And we've had 18 people in 15 days murdered in our city. The
Yep.
city been on fire since it was wintertime with people getting murdered. You just
Yes.
put a curfew up because they acted up after a Bucks game? That shit
No.
was weak.
So I'm so glad you brought that up because this is a part of some of the stuff that we're working on. And Kev, you know me. So when I say this, I have to be transparent, but also, I would never defend anybody. I can only tell you facts. I hit Chevy up and asked him to put a curfew into place. Now, I don't know if he necessarily did it because I said it, but I know that when I said it later on that day, it happened. The reason being is because number one, the people who were shot and shooting wasn't the babies, but I know because of the Stoley situation that it places a target on their backs. So what we're doing is creating a solution. Remember earlier when I said I had a Zoom call with some amazing people like Vaughn and Ray and stuff like that. We have some things that's in place that we're about to announce. So with the curfew, is like, give us a couple of days to come up with a solution, not a press conference, not a panel discussion, but we need a real solution so we can grab them before these police start assassinating them again. Now what's being done is we're introducing a lock-in tour this summer. The lock-in tours consist of some real ones, brothers like you, brothers like my pops, brothers like Big Mike, people that's not necessarily in front of the cameras, but the real OGs. We take them and we take people like Kirby at Cream City Boxing, Rob Jackson of Raise the Bar, A lot of black people, the real ones who have their own organizations, we bring them in and we say, hey, we're doing these lock-ins, right? The lock-ins, yeah, we'll have fun, but it's really to get the youth to trust us so that they can listen to us. When they listen to us now, we can say, hey, you like boxing? Cool. We got somewhere for you to go. You like to rap? Cool. McHenry at MAS got a studio. We have different places, right? But we're not just sending them away. We are putting
No,
things in structure. You
I,
know what I'm saying?
but why not a citywide curfew? Why only downtown?
So listen, that's what I'm saying. I didn't make the specifications of it. I just said give us some time so that we can put something in place for the babies. Now everything else I can't explain why it's done like that.
Right. No,
But
no, no, no,
if
no.
right, but if I'm thinking, you know what I'm saying, correctly, if you have these babies downtown on Water Street, which people experience the most racist shit, they are indeed in danger. They always in danger when they going on that side of town because they don't want them over there. So I wouldn't want my children over there either. But then also, don't get it twisted. Oh, I know that it had something to do, like the Bucks. They tricked that last game. They tricked that last game because of what happened the night before, and they knew that all of the commentators and wasn't nobody coming to Milwaukee
Got
after
their ass
17
whooped.
people then got shot.
The Celtics had a lot to do with them tricking that
No,
game. I'm
they
just
did. But think about it though. We talking politics, right?
right.
They're going to trick the game a day
I'm
after
still okay.
17 people were shot because ain't no commentators
Right.
coming here. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no, so that's a big business to them.
I
That
want to, but I want to say though, once again, to do it just for downtown when people have been getting murdered all over the city for
understood.
the last 7 months. So
Right.
even if you gave him that suggestion, right?
No, I'm agreeing with you.
And
That's
and,
what I
and he
said.
and he was that stupid to say, "Well, I heard what she said, but I'm just gonna do it." And that's it. See, I'm doing his voice. I heard what she said. I'm just gonna do it downtown. Somebody should have said, "Bruh, the whole city needed curfew. What are you
Right.
talking about?"
But see,
So
that's
he
the thing
failed
too.
that test.
No, so I don't have no control over the specifications or
Right.
anything like that. You know what I'm saying? But what I will say is that, and I'm gonna be completely honest, right? That is the problem. The problem is that they have people around them that tell them stuff like this, right? Now, I had a phone call with Chevy today in response to that. The
Okay.
reason why, and I don't have a problem with talking, I went to high school with Chevy. We both went to Bayview. He was
Okay.
a year or two above me, right? So I'm comfortable with having conversations with him. What I will say is that after him hearing what I had to say, he agreed and he was willing to take our consideration on what we trying to present. So there is another press conference. There is other things coming to kind of make up for that. I can't say who people can have around. I can or I know who he got around him. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm gonna say.
I
All
like
I
what
can
you
do,
I like what you said about the lock-ins. I think that's an excellent idea. And if those are the kinds of things that will be implemented later on down the line, it'll be
no,
kudos to
that's
him.
right now. So
Right.
that's the thing too. The reason why it was imperative for me to speak with him is because we need to take action now. So we're gonna start next month in different districts doing these lock-ins, right? And we not and remember back in the day that we had lock-ins. I had lock-ins at the YMCA. You know what I'm saying? The skating rink, different places. But this is going to be a different approach because I feel like oftentimes what you mentioned earlier with the movement and leaders, it's a lot of candy coated shit. It's bullshit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's not the real, which is
Yeah.
why these children are doing what they're doing because they don't have people. They're not receptive to people who don't come from where they come from. They can look at somebody and be like, "Dude, you ain't even from the hood. How you gonna tell me? You know what I'm saying? What
I
I need to
seen
be doing?"
I seen the mayor and the police chief go to the elementary school. What is that? Roosevelt, and do the old 1980s Dare McGruff speech
For
with the
real.
kids and make them say, "I will never drive a Stoli. I will." It was so corny and it was so thinly. It was so thin for me because I
Right.
went through 40 years of this with this city. I've seen this regurgitation of loser politics just happen over and over, right?
Right.
And so, but even the brilliance of our kids shines through. If you go and watch this story, it's in the People's News Network. There's a 12-year-old boy who says, "I don't really expect nothing to happen. And I don't really think he gonna do nothing about it, but we just wanted him to come so we can ask him some questions." So even the kids are saying they ain't gonna do shit about it.
Right.
I got a caller. You live on Outlaw Radio. What's your name? Where you calling from? Caller. I don't know if they know they own.
So that's what you just said, though. You just said what I said. They're not going to listen to certain people. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? So that's when people like us, like me and Vaughn and Ray and different people, we have to come in and try. So let me say this. If it was up to me, I would just rather work with the people. But that's not the reality of the
Who
situation.
says right?
You know
I
what I'm
don't
saying?
really expect nothing.
So what I do is I try to work with the people that they don't want to work with behind scenes. Somebody got to do it. You know what I'm saying? We can't sit back and say, man, like, why he didn't do this, why he didn't do that, or why they didn't do this. Well, somebody got to go tell them to, because they don't have people around to do it. And it's not to say that, it's not to throw blame at you, but I'm glad you brought it up so that we can say it actually is people around now. Me, Vaughn, Ray, different people. We merging together to let them know, like, hey, that ain't cool. That ain't how you
I
do it.
think I
You
think
need to
he's
do it this way.
controlled. I think he's controlled by Chris Abley. First of all, big money,
Well,
big.
everybody in those positions are
Well,
controlled
yeah,
by
they
somebody.
are a lot. All of them are controlled. Most of them are controlled by Nation Consulting.
Yep.
Most of them are controlled by conservative, rich white people. So it's really not about what should be done for us. At the end of the day, it's about who the financiers allow them to hobnob with, and that's how we end up with gatekeepers because only certain Negroes
Yes.
can be involved. So I know right now Abley is holding all the cards because shout out to DC Crowley, who's a friend of the show, has been on many times. $750,000 bankroll behind his campaign. Chevy $250,000. You're gonna do what he says do.
Yeah, that's how
Um,
this system go. But and that's what I said earlier. We can't depend on the people that oppress us to assist us.
no,
However, with you bringing that up, I just wanted to say this is not me defending anyone. This is if
no.
anything, me saying there are people that are trying. We are trying our hardest behind scenes to reach out to these folks and say, can we please do this, because we come from this. We are in this every day, and this is what's going to work. And if they're willing to do it, then I'm with it. You know, all I can say is we presented it. Now it's time for it to unfold, and it's time to put them to the test to see if they really about what they be talking about.
This is there's been passionate people working in this community for years.
Yep.
And I've known a lot of them. I've worked with a lot of them. And so what happens is they'll play games with you up until the point where the white folks say, no, you got to let them go. And then they'll
Right.
cut you off. Oh, now, let me see if I can bring my caller. And caller, you live on Outlaw Radio. Can you hear me now? What is going on? Why does it keep hanging up? Let me
Because of, because it must be something that we gotta say the people need to hear.
No, it's my system.
I'm just playing.
Rarely does anything fuck up if I don't fuck it up on here. So it's me not having the phone on the right settings, right, to chime in with my roadcaster. So I think I got you now. I think I know who that is. Let's try it one more time. Give me a call. I usually don't have no issues with my calls, but so no, I once again, I've got nothing but excuses because there are people, try one more time, Erica. There are people who have been trying for years, very passionate people, and they've made deals with politicians. The problem is you cannot lie down with politicians. You cannot because
You cannot.
they don't have any true alliances except for the people who fund their campaigns. And so if we ask ourselves why things are the way they are in the city, it's pretty much connected to the fact that they're controlled by certain individuals and have been
Right.
for years. Let me
But
try this
that's
one
the
more
issue
time.
though. That's why it's time
Erica, can you
for.
hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
What's going on? Tell these people who you are and where you from.
What's up, everybody? Shout out to the Outlaw Radio. Shout out to Kevin. Shout out to Jasmine Taylor. I've been hearing a lot of good stuff about you lately, Queen, and I agree with a lot of the things that you are talking about. My name is Erica Hunt. I love being in the comments, but most importantly, I love being in the streets.
Yes.
I'm a community activist from Milwaukee who's been out on the front line, and I have learned and seen a lot while being out there. And you're definitely right. In the beginning of our movement, um, the guy or the man sent a lot of those different communities out to destroy our movement. And I watched personally as it conquered and divided all of us. I wanted to touch bases on that Deer District. I kind of agree with Kevin when he says that was kind of a weak attempt, but I understood when they said a curfew for the young people. It'll keep mothers who actually care about their children but allow their children to do certain things, it'll have them second guessing on if they were going to allow their child to go to that game. Or mothers who take their children with them. It's made them second guess. I was down there that night. I drove through that traffic. It was terrible. You seen crowds of grown people of age in their late 30s, almost 40s, down there arguing with each other.
Yes.
I cracked jokes. I said a lot of the arguments started because they had money on that game. And when they lost that game, they lost a lot of money.
Yep.
That was the joke I cracked. But I was kind of appreciative of them setting that curfew. So thank you for putting that seed in that vessel and allowing it to grow, because it did protect a lot of children. But if them grown people would have went down there and acted a fool, we would have seen it's not our kids.
It's them. And they put a report out that said that. And Erica, I thank you for saying that, because the reason why I did it was because my son was down there. My son just turned 15. His uncle took him to the game for his birthday. So he was in the midst of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And then another young man that played basketball, just got a full scholarship to Arizona, got shot. So for me, it was like, man, my baby down there, and I can't even get a hold of him. You know what I'm saying?
Well, two things, ladies. Two things I want to say. Number one, once again, I asked the question: why just downtown when the entire city is just covered in blood from multiple murders? Okay, and then the second thing is I want to ask Mr. Johnson a question, because I've been in the streets as a knucklehead teenager. Do you think they're really saying, "Oh shit, I would act a fool, but it's 11 o'clock, I got to go in the house"?
Well,
they're not going in the house. So what we're going to end up with is police now have an excuse that I would be over there stopping this crime or that crime, but I'm over here rounding up 50 teenagers down here because you drive through the hood. We all know in the summertime, teenagers don't go in the house, right? They're outside, they walk in, they're doing. Now we grew up doing that in the summer. So now we're talking about police rolling the community, just grabbing kids off the street, taking them downtown. This will eventually turn into an inconvenience, and meanwhile the crime will still be going on throughout the city. So
I want to clarify something. He actually put a citywide curfew in effect today.
Okay, so he did it today.
Yeah, he did it today. So initially it was downtown, and I think that was just like I said, when I did it, it was like, yo, give us a couple days to put something together. And I think it was just kind of to calm people down. But also, is what you said too. It's so much more going on outside of the Deer District. You know what I mean? So today, in effect, matter of fact, early this morning, Vaughn dropped it in the group chat that they put out a citywide curfew for those under the age of 17.
Okay, so we got another caller. Caller, you live on Outlaw Radio. Erica, hold on. I'm going to try to get back to you because I wanted her to be. I know she has something to say. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Brother Rickalee Muhammad, calling from Northside Milwaukee.
Brother Muhammad, what's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, Black man? I was just listening to your show. Give a shout out to my sister Jasmine.
This Rick Muhammad.
We've had these conversations.
Yes.
We've had these conversations. And this white supremacy racism, I mean, this goes back 40, 50 years. I mean, my cousin used to be Mike McGee Senior legislative aide, so I got introduced to city government in Milwaukee back in the early 90s, how they do stuff here. And nothing's really changed until they got more control of the downtown. And the curfew is about keeping black kids away from white fun. That's all it's about. They don't care about nothing on the peripheral of anything past going north of Walnut and all the Marquette area. They want to keep black kids or black people, be able to control black people that come into those areas. And anything outside of here, Kevin, they don't care.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question, Rick?
And then the other thing yes, ma'am.
So, based off of thinking of how your mind frame work, right? Is it really okay for our children to be around these white folks right now when they drink and acting a fool in these days and times?
No, it's not. Because, sister, what I think about is the shaft. You remember the first one? And you remember how the rich white boy killed a black? That's what I think about, Kevin. Because when a white person gets drunk and he kills a black person, they would blame their behavior on alcohol and almost get away with it. Real talk. So the second thing, our young black mothers need to teach our boys about white racism and stuff that happened with the lynch, because they don't really know. They don't even know about Daniel Bell and how they covered that up for almost 25 years. They don't know. This younger generation don't know. They don't know. And they don't know the history. They don't know about Father Grappy, and they want black people to rent houses on the south side of Milwaukee. They don't know. We don't even talk about it. When my parents first moved here in the 50s, there wasn't even no black people living past center at all.
So
it wasn't.
Rick.
So
let me ask you this, Brother Muhammad. So I said that I felt like Mayor Johnson's response to what happened downtown was weak because he only called a curfew for the downtown area. My sister said she disagreed because she was part of the curfew kind of being set up, but she didn't have control over the parameters. What do you think? Do you think his response was weak, or what do you think about how he responded to it?
Chevy handler, one of his handlers is Chris Aberly. I was at a fundraiser, like I told you, and David Crawley and him was there. I didn't even know. I had heard of him, but when you look at his background, he's being groomed for something. Yes. And he is Obama 3.0. He is Obama 3.0.
0.2. 0.2.
Okay, we said 0.2. Okay, but now what I'm saying is, in saying that, he is the next breed above Ashanti now. They didn't want none of Ashanti them. That's why they weren't selected, because the Bradley Foundation, the Greater Milwaukee Association of Commerce, the Ford Foundation, and it's another group. They control the Common Council, and they control Tom Barrett. They control NPS. So these rich white people control the Common Council, because all you got to do is look at the laws. And then the other thing is this: I don't go to the Deer District. You know why? Because those Negroes that sit down in the Common Council, and when we went down there, they didn't put no provision for a black business. Not one black business in the Deer District. And they got $245 million of taxpayer money for the five-serve. Okay, then another $60 million for a train. And we not getting a dime, but we happy, grinning and smiling to go to a game.
Well, hold on now. I got to straighten you out, because there was food trucks down there, and Cavalier blamed them too. He said them goddamn food trucks got to go.
I also want to say,
that was a soft response to that. That was a soft response to add to that.
I want to respond to what Rick just said right quick, because
go ahead, sister.
The importance of it is that what we have to remember too is that the vice president, the owners of the Bucks' son, is running for Senate. So this is a time where you sit down and you have conversations with people like that, because it's necessary. You get what I'm saying? You running for Senate, you own this. Well, we need you to come over here these ways so we can have a conversation. You get what I'm saying? I don't even know if people know that he's running for Senate.
Yeah. One of them dating Aaron Rodgers, the daughter.
Yeah, but my thing is, these New York white boys come here and get money to build a stadium, and our city looks like SHIT. I'm not with it. I'm not even trying to have a conversation with none of them whitey, because at the end of the day, they're going to own the five-serve because it's privatized, and some of my taxpayer money went to that, and I'm not getting a return on anything. And I don't even like the Bucks. I was glad that they lost to Boston. I want money on that. So my point is, and then when you look at the Bucks, you count the number of black executives that's in the organization. We ain't talking about the coaches that's on the bench. They don't even have none of the pioneers a part of the organization.
Right. So we understand that. But the thing too, though, Rick, is that we can't say we want them to do something. I said it earlier. We can't depend on them to do anything for us, but at the same time, we can't say they're not doing this, they're not doing that, but nobody's willing to go and talk to their ass about what they need to be doing. So we have to have a system in place where it's one or the other.
Yeah. I mean, go back and look at Mike McGee Sr. when he was alderman. He did a disparity study, 1986, had a black group out of Cleveland. So these problems have been going on, but the problem is those Negroes that sit on the Common Council. I have watched them rubber stamp all this stuff to go straight to the white community, and I can't give them no pass. And Alderman Clark is my alderwoman. I got issues with her.
Oh, I know, because you gave me hell when I worked in her office.
Hey, well, you know me then. You know me. You know me then. Well, what I'm saying is, I'm just saying my point. Where happens to accountability and black responsibility when you control a 15th of the budget? Show me the impact, the financial and economic impact since these black people been in office, going back to Willie Hines up until now on the north and northwest side north, because there isn't any. There was no ordinance, no legislation, nothing, absolutely nothing, absolutely nothing. So the white community, they have lived off of us. They have lived off of us, and they benefited from Governor Walker because they got the resident requirement thing lifted. So now you got white people from Slinger and Tacoma coming to the city of Milwaukee, taking our jobs and taking our money back there. So I'm glad you're on the show talking, because education is what's needed, because a lot of our people don't know what the hell is going on.
Right. They don't.
Go ahead, Jess.
I'm glad you brought out the books and all of this stuff, because this is going to lead into the next what I'm about to say. So once again, I'm very transparent. Everybody know I'm not politically correct or anything like that. But my main goal is these babies. And the reality of the matter is the music and the sports, they got them. If you want to get to these babies, you got to reach them. You got to reach them through whatever it is that they are interested in. And they are only interested in music and sports. So with me being the person that I am, I grew up playing basketball. I grew up doing music. I felt like that's how I'm able to reach them. Okay, the Deer District. We've been talking to Alex Lasry, the vice president of the Bucks, right? I just been appointed over to T-Pain Wisconsin Festival. So T-Pain is coming to Milwaukee, and he's holding this huge like mini Summerfest festival at the Rave or whatever. And he's going to be doing a Wisconsin Festival every year. My thing was, well, it's cool, it's fun, but how many times are we going to let sports and music take over everything where we constantly give money, but it never gives nothing back to us? It's going to happen regardless, but what can we get out the situation, right? So now there's certain things that's being implemented, like, okay, can we move this down to the Deer District and hire the youth so that they can work the event? Basically, what I'm saying is we have somebody who is in a position. I am in a position to control what comes in and out of our city, as far as the sports and entertainment, to the best of my ability. Not in complete control, but control enough to where we can either get these kids some money so they can stop stealing these cars and doing what they're doing. We can get connected to them so that they can listen to us.
Can I ask a question?
Okay, I want to ask something.
Go ahead, Kev.
I wanted to know, because I feel like, once again, silence for me, when somebody is silent, that indicates that they are part of the plan, right? If I'm getting stomped out, right? If I'm getting stomped out, I'm looking around the room, because the cat that's with me better be either trying to stop it or get in it. The cat that's sitting over there quiet, that's just kind of watching, especially if he could stop it, he's part of it, right? So I say I need for something to be said. So I don't understand why right now you have Summerfest coming up, you have Juneteenth Day coming up, you have a bunch of events where people are going to be out and about. There's no campaign to stop the violence amongst the kids. There's no pointed plan by Chevy to say, listen, we want to start it with hashtags, with social media presence, put the guns down, whatever catchphrase you come up with. We're going to get kids involved in Juneteenth Day to go and make it about them, and go to the leaders, go to the community. First of all, let's go to the leaders that are in these communities to say, we need a moratorium on violence, y'all. Let that be our campaign. I didn't hear anything of that nature coming from him or city or the common council. So maybe that's something start, but like,
you may not. But me personally, where I'm at with it, I'm walking in purpose. All I can do is reach to my people. Right. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I'm not in the business because I've done that before. I'm not in the business of trying to get them completely on board. If they on board, fine. If they not, that's fine too. I'm in the business of working with my people in the trenches, because those are the people that's going to be doing the real work anyways.
I totally get your position. And I don't want you to think that.
No, I'm not taking it like that, but I'm telling you that for a specific reason, because we are dishing stuff to them behind the scenes saying, listen, like with the lock-ins, Alderwoman Cox, Alderwoman Lewis, and Alderman Perez, they have been adamant about working with us and getting this done. You know what I'm saying? These are conversations that's being had behind the scenes, because I don't want the people who control them and I don't mean directly, but the people who are really in control to sabotage what we trying to do. But most importantly, if you know me, you know ain't no political nothing running nothing.
Right.
This is gonna be led by the people.
I'm actually glad you're here to provide some balance in the conversation, because you already see where I stand with what's going on politically in terms of our elected leaders. So I'm glad you're here. You bring, once again, a fresh perspective, and this is what this show is for, to create a safe space for us to be able to have conversations.
Right.
Whether we don't all got to hold hands and be kumbaya. Oh, we love what you're doing. No, but as long as we can be sensible and respect each other. Now, Rick, you had a question for the sister, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
go ahead. I was just going to say this. Okay. First of all, the root of the problem is never being addressed, and that's black men, high unemployment, and black poverty at the expense of the white community, and taking our tax dollars over a period of time.
Yep.
Which, I'm going to say that's treason. If you just want to put it just out there, I ain't going to say it's, U.S. Code 2381, but at a local level, it's definitely treason. Now, you don't see these problems with white males in the same age group because they're working.
Right.
They having money. The same age, you don't see that on the South Side. You don't.
Yeah, and that goes back to what we were saying earlier. You're not going to see it because the way that this city is set up is not meant for us to.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, we have black elected officials that's not doing a damn job. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and
I sat down there and watched them. I have sat down there and watched them. And a lot of the stuff, I know how it works. Because when I was in Mike McGee Sr.'s office, I seen him do it. So my thing is, all those people that's elected down there, I remember when they wasn't even in politics.
So,
including Lena, all of them. So when I see them there. I see them.
That's fine. That's fine. We get that, but that goes back to what I'm saying.
What I'm saying is,
hold on, Rick.
When you sit.
Hold on, let her respond. That
goes back to what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that at the end of the day, I'm not in the business of sitting around complaining about what needs to be done, because I have a 15-year-old daughter and a 14-year-old daughter. So if there is elected officials that want to hop on board that may help, fine. If not, fine. It don't make or break what I'm doing, because what I'm doing is for the Most High anyways. I'm just trying to provide a balance. It's like, listen, this is what we got going on. If you rocking with it, cool. If you not, that's fine. Either way, this led by the people because it's for the people, and we're going to make it happen regardless. We all know, like I said before, that these are the same people. This is a system that has continuously capitalized off the backs of us. So we can't really expect too much of anything, not just from them personally, but just from the system. We can't expect too much from them.
Okay, but what I'm saying is, I'm not giving them no pass. I'm not giving none of them no pass.
I'm not saying that you have to give them a pass, but what we're not about to do neither is this interview. This interview was given. Wait, because this interview was given to provide insight on things that I'm doing and I have going on, and I will not be involved in any conversation that's steering away from the goal of the babies. I came on this platform to express what we have going on for these babies. And if the people is down with it, then let's be down. If y'all not down with it, I don't care about who doing what in what seat, because I know that what I'm doing is for my people. So that's all I want to talk about, is what we got going on for the people and what we got going on for these babies. Because if ain't nobody involved in it, then that's on them, common council member or not. I don't care. If you want to get down, Rick, hit me up on Facebook and get involved with it. And you ain't got to deal with them. You can deal directly with me. I'm just trying to find a solution.
Hey, Jazzy, he's gone.
I'm trying to find a solution. Like, I'm not here to go back and forth about politics.
He hung up. So I'll talk to Rick later. It's Outlaw Radio, man. These are the kinds of things that happen when you have these conversations. My thing, though, is this, though. I will say this. And I hear you, because we talk about it all the time. We're not waiting on a bus that ain't coming. Like, and the spirit of what I do is centered around do for self. But at the same time, there are fiscal responsibilities, because money is taken out of my income to pay these individuals' salaries. So part of that job is for me as a citizen to be able to say, hey, that's not right. That's not what you should be doing with my money in your pocket, because I can't sign up for an exemption where he won't get this. Because as a matter of fact, the Common Council gave themselves a raise in a city, and to be honest, in a city where 40% of the black people live below the poverty line. And this has been a consistent over the last 20 years. So what I feel, so I'm saying all this to say, I feel like whatever criticism they get, they is justified. The people have a
No,
right to
I'm
do
not.
it.
Listen, I'm not disagreeing with none of it. I'm saying first, let me put this out there too. I don't even know if people know that you can literally go down there and schedule a meeting with them. You can
Sure
also call
can.
them if you really want to apply pressure and stuff like that. But what I'm saying is that from me personally, where I'm at in my life, we live in America, KKK. And it's gonna be this way until the day we go, until the day that the Most High come back, because that's how they set it up. So all I'm trying to do is survive and help my people inside of a system that I don't want to be a part of, because it's not built for us. It was built by us. This country was built by us, but this country was not built for us. So the system that they have set up in place will always remain. All we can do is try to take the scraps and pieces or whatever, because guess what? As soon as we say you need to do this and they do it, they're gonna find a way to finagle something else to overrule that. And then they're gonna find another way, because if there's complete change, then they can't capitalize off of poverty. So there's never going to be complete change.
Well, that's the what we call it, the conflict of interest here on the show, in
Right.
which that if they really did implement anything, you're talking about reducing the prison population up north, which would then drive them into poverty. So we talk about that all the time. It's a
So,
listen, it's a well-rounded conversation
yes,
on
no,
my
and
platform.
and I agree with everything that you saying, Kev. I don't know if it's sounding like I'm not, but I do. I'm just saying that I feel like
No,
we
I
as a
see.
people,
No, hold on, though. It was a lot of heat coming off the end of that couch when Muhammad was on the phone.
I
I'm like,
know it's all I love. You know, when we talk
let
with
me turn
passion,
this down a
right?
little bit.
We talk, when we talk with passion, but I don't
Right.
want to get so wrapped up in them, because then it takes away from what the people is trying to do for the people. You know what I'm saying? It takes
Uh-huh.
away from the main issue at hand, which is the babies. At the end of the day, we are going to become elders. And these
Okay.
babies are going to be working and running this world. The rate that they going, I don't want them taking care of me. Because if they get older doing this stuff and they ain't had no guidance, we all gonna be messed up. So
Well, I
my
too,
focus is helping them.
I have a 15-year-old son and I have a 19-year-old daughter. That both live in Milwaukee, and I've worked with young people for the last 22 years. That's what I do professionally, from an MPS teacher all the way to what I do now. I've been in social services for
Right.
22 years. So I share your passion for our youth. And a
Yes.
lot of what I do in terms of calling out faulty leadership is to try to create awareness so that in the future we can improve the quality of our leadership, right? Like, so for me, I totally understand not to expect anything from this system. I totally understand. And like we just had a show. It's so
Right.
coincidental. We just had a show last night where we talked about we don't really expect for the governor and the mayor and these systems that set up to benefit us. But there are some responsibilities that they have if they're going to take our paper. Now, I
Well,
disagree with that brother saying he don't
but
like
guess
us,
what?
because I think you got the right to go to the Deer District if you help pay for the stadium. I think you should be able to go down there and
You
be safe.
can, but we put these people in office. So
Right?
we're
We
the same
did.
too. We don't before they get in office, no one sits down and says, this is what we demanded. This is how it needs to go. If we're going to partake in the political agenda or the politics in general, right? Okay, when you running for office or you rerunning, you need to come sit down. We're gonna set these are our demands. Okay, we'll support you and we'll back you. We keep saying like, hey, y'all gotta do this, y'all gotta do that, but we let the white people fund their campaign. We don't sit down with them and tell them what the demands are, and yet we think that we're gonna have some sense of control. They're gonna go where the money controls everything. So whoever backing them is gonna control that. But most importantly, where the demands at? They going in office thinking that they know what they doing, but we ain't sitting down creating no demands.
My God, we are horrible when it comes to holding them accountable. You are right. Listen, I once again, it's funny, and I'm not dressing this up. What I always say on this show is, if we have concerns or demands, the one thing we need to tell people when they come to ask for our votes is, unless this is an item on your agenda, you
Yes,
will not get my vote.
that's right.
And this is, we are
That's the same
not
way
a
when you in the hood.
well,
You
yeah.
can't,
Well,
if you ain't from this hood, you don't know what's going on. You can't come through.
we don't we're not what you call informed voters, and this is reflected by a very low voter turnout. you'll see that 12%, 13%, 14% will turn out to vote because they're just so aloof in terms of what's at stake in each election.
Yes.
And so I tell people all the time, local politics are very, very important. You can sit on your laurels and say, I'm not going to vote because they're just going to do what they want to do and all this shit. Because you're partially correct because the system is the system. But history has shown that strong grassroots political organizations have made a lot of changes in communities, right? But it's usually snuffed out. It's usually snuffed out. And I say that because I look at like with the conservative vice lords and what they were able to do where they got behind some political and we know how it ended. But they made some changes. They got together. There was some attention put on the problem and they got things done. It's just that in Milwaukee, it seems like these white benefactors, these rich, uber rich financiers step in. Like when somebody like you and somebody like Vaughn go in there with a revolutionary idea, and Vaughn I wish he was here because he could attest to this.
But
How
wait,
many great hot ideas has he had that they either
but
tried to
they
take
took,
from
right.
him?
That's why. So let me break it down like this, Kev, right quick. What I did was, and this is not, I don't care about status and notoriety, but I'm trying to make a point, right? Okay, I work for the Allen Iverson Classics, right? They just gave me a Purpose Award from Showtime, all of that for my birthday. I'm doing a T-Pain festival. I'm booking Scarface. I'm doing all these different things, right? And all of this is happening so that I can bring whatever resources I have back to my people, right? So now I'm in a position to say, Vaughn, you have this. We don't have to go to them. We can implement it, right? So with these lock-ins, the city ain't controlling nothing. The purpose of me doing this is so that we can have control over it.
Okay.
All we're doing is utilizing whatever we want from them. We're not going to them saying, we need this, we need this. We're saying, listen, this is what we're doing. We need to use your venue. Vaughn is going to run the program because the program has to be ran by the people. And the aldermen that we're talking to, we're only talking to them because we need spots in their districts. Can you refer us to a gym in your district where we can hold these lock-ins? I sure can. You can go to the Journey House. Cool. Boom. Thank you. Have a nice day. Can you know what I'm saying? Vaughn, what you good at the lock-ins? All right, cool. Bam. Thank you. Kirby, you got the boxing gym? That's the resources. All right, cool. OVP, y'all want to give out grants? We'll pay the young kids to work at the lock-in so they can feel a part of something. This is a system that's being created where everybody stay in their lanes respectively, but it's ran by the people. This is not a city project. This is not a and Kev, I can't be bought. You know that.
You know what? I'm happy that you all are involved. The only thing I say that is I like because I've been there. I've done this. Like I've seen this movie and I've seen a lot of brilliant, beautiful black people, young black people who are passionate come in and lie down with the dogs and wake up with ticks.
But
And they get used and abused by politicians so bad that they end up very bitter and jaded. I
know. I've been doing this for a very, very long time. You know what I'm saying? I've been in the movement for a long time. I've been in the trenches for a long time. I've been in politics for a long time. So there's a reason why you have never seen me say that I led anything.
Right.
This will be the first time, and really people won't even see it because I'm not interested in having white media involved in what I'm doing. I'm on your podcast talking about it because this is for our people. And don't nobody see me on Milwaukee local news talking about this because I understand that they don't have our best interest. When we do these lock-ins, ain't no cameras, ain't no JSL online reports, ain't none of that stuff. The reason being is because we have to have control over this, and I made that very clear.
Is there a way you can forward me what information will be made available? Because I'd like to promote this in my group.
So Vaughn has put something together. Right now we're creating registration for parents and other people that want to volunteer. And due to Milwaukee Facebook, there will be a sex offender background check ran on the volunteers, and I'm gonna make that clear. You understand what I'm saying?
You better. A lot of tree jumpers out here.
So we're creating registration now for parents to sign their children up for. Now, I imagine Chevy will say something about it, just so that as a follow-up to the curfew, so people can see like, okay, wait, it's actually something being implemented for the babies. But this is not by far anything that they're doing. This is something strictly that we are doing.
So then once again, you kind of give me some, basically you supporting what I said. So even that part of it is, it represents that he by himself, without you or without y'all involved, is still a weak leader. I mean, it's still, because he's not, like you said, this didn't come from him. He's not in control of it. He can't even claim anything except for I answered the phone, which would make me say, then you don't, that's all you did. So once again, it says, so if this is what you all are doing, I applaud you all. I am very happy that you're involved, because I've been saying I want to hear somebody who has
Right.
a solution. I want to hear somebody who says, I'm gonna do something. We got this going. That's all I've been looking for the last 6 months. Is I don't hear anything coming from our community in terms of this is what we want to do, so that I can support it. Not just so I don't, not to analyze it, but to say, hey, I'm with that shit. Let me help
Right.
support that. I
But
want
I'm
that to
gonna add
rock.
this too. I'm trying to make it to where, okay, I had the hip hop gardens, right? Where I got a vacant lot on 14th of Burleigh. And what I would do is go in the hood and I would get money from everybody in the hood and then we would do it. So that's the same thing I'm implementing. I'm trying to do it to where we're paying for it, because when we pay for it, we want to be involved. That's our money. We're invested in this. You understand what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to make it to where we just get money from all these different people. I'm making it to where the people are literally invested in it and they have no choice but to partake in it, because this is ours. And what happens is when you do that, everybody has a voice in it, which means that people care more. And now it becomes a community, a family thing again. But the past 6 months, I can't speak for everybody. What I do know is that you said you watched my transition. I've been working behind the scenes so hard to do stuff that has never been done so that I can do what I'm doing now. Now I have the resources, I have the network, I have everything I need to say, listen, I've let everybody who consider themselves to be leaders come and do this thing, and I've let everybody do what they do. It's just my time. And
Okay.
I'm not coming in front of the camera saying, hey, I'm a leader, or hey, da da da. I just know that I was led by the Most High on this path to do this work, and He will continue to lead me on this path. And I'm just rounding up the real ones.
Right. Once again, we talk about all the time. Anything that's positive or progressive, that's beneficial to Black people, we're gonna support it. We're gonna ride for it. And I talk about intentional solidarity all the time, in which we need to be on code, right? Like, and I'm moving
Yes.
towards this one nation. I don't like to talk about my shit online because people be out there jotting stuff down with little pens and pieces of paper. But I'm
Right.
moving towards this one nation podcast, in which real connections can be made on the air and off the air. It ain't
Mm-hmm.
just about doing a podcast. It's about really creating a network of people, nothing subversive, something that's solid, something that's tangible that the people can utilize. So that's why I say, whatever you're doing, I'd like whatever information or promotion about it, shoot it to me so I can let people know
I'm gonna send it
this
to
is
you
going
because I
on.
want you to be a part of it. Because the reason why I had promise on the call is because of what I try to cover every arena. If
Okay.
we want this to be, I don't want TMJ4 and Fox 6 to be involved because they'll spin it. So let's reach out to the Black media and let's have them cover it. Let's have Kevin Bars and yeah, Promise on that station, but Promise has a voice in this. So
Okay.
now we control the narrative. You understand what I'm saying? Now we control the narrative, right? You have Ray Nitty. Ray Nitty just did the unthinkable. He put a $1.2 million project right on 30th and Center. You can go and apply for 4 bedrooms for $1,400 a month with brand new lofts. The creative corridors is at the bottom where all Black businesses will be. So if you have a small Black business and you want to go down there and put it right there, you can live upstairs and go to work for yourself downstairs.
Right. Okay.
These are things that are being done that has never been done. It's just that personally, me, I'm not the one that's going to go and blast everything I do. I don't have a camera, you know what I'm saying, showing everything that I'm doing. And I do it like that for a specific reason, because I like to keep, because there are people who will work against what you're trying to do. You know what I'm saying? Just because they working with them folks. I want to see you face to face and say, man, what's the problem? I'm on 13th and Burleigh. I'm on Booth and Hour. I'm on wherever you 39th and Center. What's the problem? What do we need to do? Fuck Facebook. Fuck all the social media. We face to face. What do we need to do?
Right. I totally agree. Once again, I'm my thing is I'll be honest with you. I took a step back from all of that stuff because of the buffoonery involved.
Yes, me
And
too, Kev.
I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I've
Yep, I
seen a
know.
lot of these leaders, a lot of these people who are. I've encountered a lot of these members of these organizations, and it is a fucking clown show,
Yes, I
right?
stepped back too for a while for
And
that.
so my thing is, it's just like years back when we had a very important election on the line. We
Mm-hmm.
had every challenger on my show. I didn't bring any incumbents because once again, I feel like we need to flush downtown.
Right.
And so I brought every challenger. I mean, and the only person that came on that won during that election cycle was DC Crowley. And now what they did was this was the height of the pandemic, if we think back, and they closed down Midtown and
Mm-hmm.
they made it so that you had to go to Washington High School in the rain and vote. And as a result, all of the candidates that came on lost.
Yeah,
None
and
of
they
them won.
switched and they switched the polling locations
All kinds
without
of shit.
telling folks.
Right. And then Nick McVeigh had footage of people throwing ballots in the garbage, all kinds of stuff. It was crazy for a minute. And at that point, I decided that I was going to just take just back up off politics in Milwaukee and
Yep.
back up off of activism and just promote people who are doing
Yep.
positive things. Like my
Yeah.
involvement in terms of me really getting involved and coming to the meeting and coming. I'm like, nah, I ain't gonna do none of that no more. Cause I know, like we talk about what you've been given, what your mission is, what your conviction is. Mine is my platform and what I do. So I know
Exactly.
if nothing else, I'm gonna show a clear picture of what you're doing. I'm going to tell you, it'll be the truth. You'll be represented very well in terms of the media. So, because I do believe in the power of the media. The problem with Milwaukee here is that it's a city of silos. And,
Mm-hmm.
and you can empower yourself to a certain degree in this community in terms of activism and leadership, but it's almost like gang banging because
Yeah.
eventually another organization will rise up and you can go and say, hey, bro, we should be working together. And that person will walk away from the meeting and be like, I am not fucking with them. Fuck them. We're doing our own shit. And so now the
Yep.
powers that be figure out where there's some division here. So what they're going to do is come in and give him a little bit of money over here and create
Right.
some
And let
influence,
him do that.
give you some over here and create a little
Yeah.
influence. So they both got you working against each other, and we end up back to zero, back to square one, or what I call square none. So I always applaud people who get that energy to get back in the game. I just see
Well,
myself as more
I'm not getting back. So I want to make it clear. I am not a leader.
okay.
Okay. And I am not pretending to be a leader. I am not here for notoriety, nor am I here to display my accomplishments. I'm simply saying I'm gathering some real ones because a lot of the people that's involved, Kev, you know where I come from. They don't want to be on camera. They don't want to talk on camera. Because they
Oh,
the real ones.
oh no.
And that's who the young folks need. So I'm just gathering up the real ones and saying, hey, this is what needs to be done. I don't want a big deal out of it. It don't have to be. We're going to mention it because we need the kids. We need them to come. But this won't be a and let me say this. If ever this fail, in which I know that it won't because it's the most highest mission, understand that it did not fail because I lost vision or Ray or Vaughn lost vision, but because I will be tired of dealing with whatever is coming my way from somebody sabotaging it, not dividing us because I know I got a real bunch here. But once again, these people that we go up against are evil. You know what I'm saying? They are making so much money off these babies, off our people in general. When you drive into Milwaukee, the first thing you see is MSDF away from a county jail. That's how you know it's big business going on. That's how you know what Milwaukee is focused on. So if ever you see me not doing this, and just because you don't see it on the news don't mean it's not happening. But if ever you see that this doesn't go all the way through, it's simply because I don't have the time nor the patience to go against someone who will be willing to sabotage stuff for babies. Then that's what I would say, you know what? I'm just going to go completely in the background and do it to the best of my abilities.
Okay. So I want to talk about the Wisconsin thing because I don't want to keep you on. I know I got to respect your time, and you can always come back whenever you want to. But how do you get involved with this, and what will this consist of? The Wisconsin Festival with T-Pain.
Shout out to Philly Flyboy. I met Philly in 2012. He seen that You Ain't On video I did on 19th Atkinson. And it was like one of his favorite trap videos. And he asked me to do a song with his artist, and I did. And we built a relationship. So people that don't know, Philly is a famous videographer from Milwaukee. He shoot videos for Wayne, T.I., primarily T.I., Trader Truth, just different artists. It started a couple years ago with the Crystal Kaiser case in Kenosha County. T.I. wanted to get involved, so he linked T.I. with me, right? Then we did some community giveaways in Milwaukee. People was looking for stuff, and he always referred them to me. Like, hey, I know a solid sister in Milwaukee trying to get something done. Call Jazzy. So that's basically what's been happening. Payne Camp reached out to Philly, and Philly reached out to me, and he linked us. When they linked us, it's like, yo, I could do this, I could do that. I have access to this, I have access to that. They like, you qualify like far beyond. We want your assistance because they want to make this a yearly thing. So my goal in just knowing like Payne a genuine person and he genuinely loved Wisconsin for whatever weird reason. My goal is not to just make
Lovely here. What do you mean? It's the best place on earth. What are you
I'm
talking?
just saying, my goal is not just to make this just a festival, but make it beneficial for the city of Milwaukee. So that's what I was saying about like the Deer District, like the rave. We know that there's been incidents at the rave where our people don't really, you know what I'm saying. And now with the Deer District, however, I'm trying to get it to become a place where we can still benefit off the entertainment piece because Black people they're gonna have fun regardless.
Right.
So how can we get people jobs? How can we make this a real festival to where we can get these kids jobs so they don't gotta go work at Summerfest?
So what will it be? Will it be concerts? What will it?
So June 11th is like he's bringing Erica Banks, OT Genesis, Lil Jon, Kid Ink, Trap Beckham, Hannibal Burris. He's bringing like 10 people each year with him, right? They have the entire rave. So every stage, everything, there'll be performances at the same time. And then the first year is a little bit different because it's the first time doing it. So we're not really doing too much stuff outside. But next year we're doing a whole community event. We're hiring young folks so that they can come and work the festival. It won't be at the rave next year. Okay. It'll probably be at like the Deer District or State Fair or somewhere where we can make it an actual festival. So yes, initially right now it is just like a concert thing, but what we're implementing and what we're creating is an actual festival that's not only going to benefit the entertainers, but benefit the citizens of Milwaukee as well. Okay. Sorry.
Oh.
And then so I wanted to also bring up Tay Day. So Tay was killed by a stray bullet off of, I believe that was 24th and Hour. And she was a community activist. And this is something that Vaughn has put together. Every year he do the 3-on-3 tournaments. So we're working on some huge stuff with that as well. Like I said, I work for the Allen Iverson Classics. I got some stuff that I'm trying. I know that Milwaukee is a huge basketball culture. I'm trying to do some stuff where I can implement that in the city as well. I'm just trying to take my network and resources that I know that these babies are attracted to and bring it back to the city so that we can benefit off something instead of just constantly giving our money away. Like I said, what Brother Muhammad said earlier is true. The employment rate, all of these things. So how can we create that? All I'm doing is taking what the Most High has given me, and I'm trying to figure out a way to accumulate revenue for the people while they're having fun at the same time.
Okay, now Face for me, when you said Scarface, and I seen this, Scarface for me is my number 2 all-time favorite rapper behind Tupac. I don't and I'll always be willing to start some shit with anybody when we do our top 5s, dead or alive, on the show. But I've always said Face is easily number 2, and I put him ahead of Rakim and a lot of other people. I don't know if people really are up on Face's whole kind of catalog, but I am because I've been a Face fan from the first Ghetto Boy album. So how you get involved with the face thing?
through paying people.
Okay.
So the booking agency and the people that paying people uses is who Philly connected me with, and they love me.
Okay.
Like for once, somebody sees my work and they like, yo, we don't want to. You don't have to pay for this game that I'm about to give you because you can help us too. So they pretty much presented, yo, we got Ghostface Killer, we got Wu Tang, we got Scarface, we got all these different people. DJ Quick, they want to, hold community events, they want to do stuff. So I started building a business where I help athletes and entertainers and utilize my resources in theirs to do giveaways. The only big thing is, I do have experience with being an assistant tour manager when I went on tour with Nipsey Hussle label, with Jay Stone and them, and then with Fast Shine. So I still take interest in the music part as well, just not the artist. I know a lot of people. I can call somebody and make something happen. So it was a no-brainer. Like, well, can you find a venue? Yeah, let me just call a promoter. I know a couple promoters. And then it's like, yo, you might actually be a dope booking agent. You know what I'm saying? Like, would you do that? And it's like, I never even thought about that. You know what I mean? So what turned out to be just the T-Pain Festival ended up to, hey, can you help us with the Scarface tour? Then that is going to lead to, hey, can you help us with so and so tour? But at the end of the day, like I always say, the accomplishments that I am getting and that I have has nothing to do with notoriety, but rather how can I take their platform and their resources, merge it with mine, and not only give back and give to the people where I'm from, but to the people nationwide.
So who else is coming with face?
No, Face is coming by itself,
Okay.
but these are other artists that they work with,
Okay. Okay.
that they have under their umbrella. So to me, it was just, I'm a hip hop head too. So it was like, if I'm going with the new school and there's no slack to the new school versus the old school, I'm gonna go with the old school artists. I don't mind working on, because they speaking the real stuff, and I know I can go in them and say, hey, I do a lot of community work.
You know
What
what?
you trying to
I
do?
would love to hook you up with Antonia Anderson, who runs the Hip Hop 365 Museum.
Okay,
If there's a space within that somewhere in the rave where she could possibly set up an exhibit, because she
like
turned
what
her
they did.
apartment into a hip hop museum.
Yeah,
And
they did
she's
that for, what was that? What was that, hip hop week with the
yeah,
sorcerer? They did, yeah.
yeah. And people go to her. This sister has made her home a museum. Like seen her on the news, all the major news, mainstream. She was on All Our Radio first though when she first opened. So shout out to us. But she has some merchandise, some stuff that represents different hip hop eras. Like I'm talking about Run DMC action figures and
Yeah.
like albums. So I would love to be able to like hook her up with you and see if maybe just a small space where she could set up a little exhibit just for hip hop, just to advertise her. That's why I keep saying
I'm with it.
I like to have people on here so we can do real networking outside of the show. Just like my sister Chantel Gwynn, who goes hard in the paint about trying to find donors because her son is suffering from aplastic anemia, and people are like black donors are at an all-time low for black kids who suffer from bone marrow disease and stuff like that. So she calls all the time and tries to figure out what events can I go to and like give people information about becoming potential donors. So I always say anytime I meet somebody who got something big coming up, I hope she's listening. I like and Ajamu, who gave you a lot of credit and said she was a real one in the streets for real earlier in the show.
I rock with Ajimo, and I want to mention this too. Trader Truth. I don't know if a lot of people know him. He's more of a
Yeah, from Houston.
right. So I got Trey his own day in Milwaukee 2 years ago, but we haven't been able to do Trader Truth Day because of the COVID and the pandemic. But he does it in Houston. And it's a big thing. So September
Yeah.
we'll be doing Trade Day too. And I say that because I know it's some folks on here gonna be like, why is she so focused on sports and entertainment? Because that's my lane. I grew up playing ball. I grew up doing music, and I know that no matter what nobody think, these are the things that these babies are attached to. So I'm simply saying, okay, we know that it's going to exist. How can we take what you have and still give back to the people? Because these are who, not only babies, grown adults. This is who we listen to. We listen to these folks, you know. So I'm simply, like I said, I'm just walking in purpose. I'm just here trying to merge with folks like that in the entertainment field and the athletic field, and take resources and give Milwaukee something that we've never had, which is jobs. You know what I'm saying? Resources. if you can see, I can't explain my vision because when I prayed, it wasn't a conference call. So I don't expect everybody to understand it. But know that I can't be bought. I'm never politically correct. And I'm working so hard to do things that have never been done. So it's going to take time. But also, I'm here. You may not see me all the time. You're not going to see me in the media because I don't get down like that. But I promise y'all, I love my people and I love my city. And I am here working hard to do stuff that has never been done before.
I hear you. I hear you. You're welcome to come back. You know, you have. I told you that last time. You have an open invitation. You can come back, and I know, like you saying, you don't want. See, I'll give you the notoriety. You ain't gotta want it. Like if you're doing something positive, you deserve accolades. It ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I can understand your humility in saying I'm a servant leader. I do this for the people. Yeah, but sometimes the people need to give credit where credit is due. Because the one thing about it is I believe in each one, teach one. So if
Right.
you are an example of positivity in the community, the reason why people need to see you is because other people can then try to get into what you're doing. And they can say, if she can do it, I want to do that too. Oh,
You're right.
there's an example of what I can be if I get down to doing the work. So yeah, not that I would swing a camera all in your face, but I say shine the camera on her and find out what she's doing. So anytime you want to get some support or you want people to know what's available for them in the community, because like you said, and like Brother Rick said, that I totally agree with, and we talk about this all the time: curfews, meetings, rallies, marches. None of that really attacks what the core issue here is, which is generational poverty. It's a
Right.
city in which our median income is half of what white citizens here is. And so right now, that is what I don't hear them talking about. Real, we've had how many corporations have bypassed Milwaukee? Amazon
Yeah.
done built how many facilities here? And
Yep.
are we? And then this is where having weak ass leadership hurts you because they don't go and get those people to come here. They don't
Right.
come up with some. We got this. What's on Capitol? I grew up on Capitol Drive, so I'm with Century City. Like you tore down A.L. Smith, which basically built a part of the community through gainful employment, and you've replaced it with what? Right? And so this is you got this industrial, the industrial corridor that runs through the city, right?
But
They're
that's
gonna
why I
wait.
bring up stuff like Ray Nitty Creative Corridor and other different things that you know what I'm saying we have going on so that y'all so that everybody knows there's other options out there too.
I
So,
hope so.
you know,
I hope people get that. I hope people feel that. Who you want to shout out? Because you got a lot going on. I'm just like, how can I be down? I need one of them interviews. I
well,
need to talk to Face. I need you to hook that up for me. What's at it?
well, what I want to start by saying is that whatever I have going on, if there is room, I would love for you to be a part of it media wise. Come down, do a live podcast, you know, like please, because we need that. I have to give a shout out first and foremost to my husband. My husband is a huge part of me becoming the woman I am today. I met him years ago. He was signed to CTE. He was one of Jeezy's first artists, and he made a huge transition within himself. And I'm grateful to have him. So I, even though I'm not making music, he don't go by Slick Puller no more. His name is Uziah Halal Yahoo. But even though I'm not making music anymore, he has music. So you
Okay.
guys can check that out on the Scriptures of Truth on Apple Music. But I want to
What's
give
his
you
name?
so it was Slick Puller.
Right.
It's Uziah Uzzial.
Okay.
But if you go on YouTube and type in Slick Puller, his new stuff will still come up too, and you'll be able to see his new name also. But he's super dope. He's actually going to be coming up there with me in Milwaukee in the lock-ins to talk to some of the youth about his transitions in the industry and in prison and where he's at now also. I want to shout out Bobby Bates because he made the impossible happen. When so I got with the Allen Iverson Classics last year, and I've been working on getting sponsorships, and I put together community events and all this stuff. And I don't care for the notoriety, none of that. But everybody knows that was my favorite player. Everybody knows that. If you know me, you know that. So on my birthday, he got up and gave a speech at the award ceremony for the young men. So for those who don't know, the Classics is Iverson's version of the All American. So there's NBA scouts there, there's colleges there, Showtime streams it. It's just a platform for the high school students so that they can, become successful. So we do an award ceremony for them as well during the All Star week. And he got up there and he was like, "Yeah, man, I'm tired of the people that's the underdogs that go and look not being recognized and da da da." And I'm feeling it. And then he was like, "Yeah, so Jasmine Tyler," and I was like, I had no idea, and it was my birthday, so I was like I was in complete shock. Showtime gave me the award. Iverson was there, like had a real good conversation with him. So that was like super dope. And it wasn't more so about the award. It was about the fact that the man let me pull up a seat at his table and allowed me to build my own table in the same breath. So huge shout out to Bobby Bates. Darius Miles, that's somebody that I'm about to start working with. Ivory Lata, she was drafted. She won the All American with LeBron James and was drafted. We have some stuff that we're working on with the girls basketball. I want to shout out Von Mays and Ray Nitty. A lot of people don't know I was on Nitty label back in the day. He's the first person that showed me how to get on the road and how to actually do tours. So Ray, he holds a significant spot in my heart just for what he did back then. And he's working with me on this. Von Mays, Von do so much stuff in the community. He's one of my biggest supporters. Like his work ethic is relentless when it comes to the people. And I'm grateful to have them as a team, to have them behind me. My son, Millie, man. Millie, second team all conference, freshman on varsity, averaging 20 a game. My son is a man. He killing it.
Yeah, my son's played with him for a couple years. I'm very familiar. I'm actually my son ended up in they trained together. They traveled. I've been on the road with
Yes.
so I know him very well. I'm laughing because you talking about Vaughn. And Vaughn cracks me up doing Tracy Dent. Like I'm a cheerleader for foolishness, right? Like so, and I had him at first. It was him and Frank. When him and Frank
Yes.
would go, and I last time Vaughn was on the show, he and I both were cracking up laughing because I said, "Bruh, yo shit, like them skits, that little shit you be doing
He
is
needs
so
to do a comedy
funny.
show.
It is hilarious." But the latest ones with Tracy Dent, I'm just like, dude, this dude is
No,
out of his mind. Like so, that brother, he cracks me up, man. So
he
yeah, shout out to him.
hilarious.
He
Shout
cracks me up.
I'm sorry it's long, but I never get a chance to shout people out. So my daughter Kennedy, she graduate next week. She'll be playing.
Oh,
Is going to be playing for Hamilton High School too. So we're gonna have a Reggie Miller, Cheryl Miller thing going on over there. I'm proud of her. She's very smart. She's a very enthusiastic child, and I want to give big ups to my babies because I help everybody else babies. So I want to make it clear that my children, I'm extremely proud of them, and the young men and women that they're becoming, and just really like, man, shout out to y'all, man, shout out to the Most High, for real. And I'm not even being funny, religious, none of that stuff. But if you've seen my growth in my transition, not take credit for it. Because trust me, changing is not easy, especially coming from where we come from, because people gonna test you all the time. So I'm just grateful for growth.
yes.
I'm grateful for my marriage. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for people who actually believe in me and want to see me win. I'm grateful for you, Kev, for letting me come and use your platform. And I hope that, I know that in the future, we'll be able to get you on board with the stuff that we got going on so that you can be the one we go to for the Black folks. We don't need the other media outlets when we got you, you know?
Yeah, and I appreciate that. It's just but I've been very guarded about associations because I listen. You talk about change, right? That could be a whole other show for me. And like, if you people who know me, who've known me for a very long time, would testify. If you go in my old neighborhood, and they'll say,
Yes.
"Yeah, I see that motherfucker on Facebook talking about it. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know the real Kevin. I know Kevin, motherfucker. I know Kevin Barnes, nigga." So yeah, changing and flipping it and taking that energy and turning it into something positive is very, very hard to do. Some of us try to do it and we can't get it done. But that's why I always applaud people who do. And that's why I always say, personal things aside, personal politics aside, I believe in the big picture. So if it's somebody Black that's doing something that's beneficial for the community, I'm willing to bring them on and say, hey, let the people know, talk to the people. It's all about that.
Right.
We always say we do this for a cause, not an applause, but applauses are very appreciated on the show, as well as hitting my Cash App, because this shit ain't free. Right? Like, I want people to know you can always hit that Cash App and drop off some. I don't push it, and I haven't pushed the business side of what I've done.
But
Just because
no,
it's
it's
near and dear to my heart, but it's absolutely necessary, and it's something that's coming along that's gonna have to happen. So
yep, because we pay everybody else, so let's pay our people.
yeah, yeah. So you got to come back. I know Ajamu's coming back for Heal the Hood. And when you start to get closer to these events, come on back, promote them, let people know what's going on, talk about it, bring a celebrity through or two, something
Got
like that, right? It's all good. I was happy to catch up with you. I was happy to say, okay, let me see, because I seen you change. I'm like, okay, so she's changed her name. She got a lot of stuff. I seen the Iverson thing. I saw all of that. That's why I say I've seen your transition. And once
yes.
again, shout out to your family, because that boy T Brad was my partner for 30
Man,
years.
listen, I love huge shout out to man. Listen, Terry is by far one of the most genuine people, and that's my brother. But he's one of the most genuine people I know. My dad, his growth.
Right. Oh,
My
yeah.
dad growth is tremendous, man. Shout out to the dog father, man.
Yeah,
For
yeah,
real.
yeah. That's what I'm saying. I know the
Yeah,
business. Trust me. Me and T Brad come from getting it out the mud. Like, and we wasn't poor kids. We wasn't poor because, and you know, rest in peace to Miss Bradshaw, the great lady. And I knew her, but and so we weren't poor, but we figured out that we gotta learn how to hustle. We gotta learn
yes,
how to get some paper, man. We gotta learn how to make things happen. So T was, man. We have endless stories that would be not, proper for this show at
right.
least. So, but the whole family, the Ronnie, all of them. Like when you did the
Yes.
video, when I seen it years back, I remember just laughing because I'm like, wait a minute, it's rarely do you see a video with all the dudes who you've grown up with in it.
In one video.
Like, look at these dudes standing by 19th Street corner store. Like, it was hilarious, man. So
Yeah, my auntie ain't going nowhere, man. Shout out to my whole family, man.
Ray and
I
Jay's
love
crew.
them people, man.
Oh
I
man,
love them.
Miss Betty is a jewel of the neighborhood, man. Come on now. You go over there
Yes.
and buy you a plate on Sunday for $5. It's gonna
Yes,
be
indeed.
delicioso.
Yep. That's right.
Yeah, I'm from the turf for real. I don't play with that. But thank you for coming, man. You got to come on back. Whatever you got going, we want to know about it. We want to support you in that. Always tell people, man, either you part of the solution and you part of the problem. And this sister is easily a part of the solution, man. And the way we always end the show is to quote the great Willie D. And when we say, if your criticism of the black community outweighs your contribution, you're
Mm.
probably a coon, right?
Ooh,
So we'll see y'all next week, man. Peace and love. Thanks for coming, my sister. We sure enough
thank you.
appreciate you.
Please.